When it comes to mastering your thoughts and your mindset, it's the simple thoughts and beliefs that run through your mind every day without you even considering their effects. Those are the ones that make all the difference. For many years, it was common for the average person to think things like, all I have to do is think happy thoughts. However, the people that were achieving the highest levels of success in any and all areas of life, they thought differently. Their beliefs were more in the line of, I need to be strategic about what I think and believe and how I choose to feel. If you want to learn to recognize the most common thoughts and beliefs that limit your growth and your ability to get ahead in life, join me on today's Life Design podcast as we discuss belief number 2 from my book, Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe now so you can join us on every episode. We truly appreciate it. And be sure to engage in the comments section of your favorite platform for your chance to be invited as a guest on one of our episodes. Hello, you amazing listeners, and welcome back to the Life Design Podcast, your number one place to discuss and improve all aspects of your life by cultivating a growth mindset. Today's topic is limiting belief number 2 from my book, Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. And it brings to light the stark difference in how the average person thinks about the part that their thoughts and their beliefs play in their overall happiness and their overall success in life, particularly when we compare it with how the most successful people on the planet think about it. Thinking happy thoughts or saying positive affirmations to yourself, those are a great start, but they're baby steps in this 10K run that we all know as striving to live our best possible lives. Those who've actually mastered their thoughts and their mindset, they focus more on thinking about, I would say, what they truly want as opposed to thinking in general terms. Okay? They think with very vivid detail. They picture and visualize with very vivid detail of just the way they want things to be. They don't just think happy thoughts. They do not think about life from the perspective of what they don't want. They think about things from the perspective of what they do want to experience in their lives. Matter of fact, the masters of mindset, so to speak, of controlling their thoughts and their emotions, they're very careful to notice the exact words or the phrases that they use, that they think, I should say. They're very particular about the pictures that they think about or that they allow to run through their minds, and they train their thoughts to be forward thinking from a positive perspective. Things like I am, I love, or I enjoy, or it is. Things like I'm grateful or I expect, so on and so forth. Okay? Even using the term I want, it's okay, but think about it. Subconsciously saying I want is coming from a place of I don't have this, as opposed to other ways of looking at it. Again, I am, I'm in the process of, right? Promotes action as opposed to I want, that just simply says, ooh, I don't, subconsciously, it says, I don't have this. So we want to be careful when we use the phrase I want. Now, throughout today's podcast, we're going to use that phrase. But I want to make it clear as we go through this that I want is kind of neutral, and we want to focus on the most empowering perspectives. So that being said, happy thoughts Okay, they're, again, a great start. But it's keeping the general thoughts that we have coming from an empowering place that will really make the difference in our overall thought patterns and therefore in the results that we get. So when you catch yourself saying things like, I don't, or I won't, I'm not, or I can't, anything that comes out from that negative perspective, it's important to be self-aware of that and to make it mandatory to stop ourselves immediately and change the thought so that it expresses itself from a positive and empowering side. Again, things like I am, I prefer, I enjoy, I choose, I believe, I am grateful. That positive viewpoint. I want to pause for a minute. I want to make sure that you're really catching this, because this is the key. As you know, if you listen to part 1, well, we're only in part 2, so I'll share it. The book itself shares the 2 comparative ways of thinking about a specific topic. In this case, it's about the topic of our thoughts themselves, or we could call it our mindset. Do we look at it from the perspective of, I just need to think happy thoughts? Or do we look at it from the perspective of, no, I need to be very intentional, even with my happy thoughts? Okay, so it shares this comparative thoughts, and it explains a little about it. Then the book goes into what I call the key, meaning the key perspective of that and why it's important to pay attention. Then we look at the shift, where we can take our minds, where we can make that shift, or what kind of shift we can make and why it's important, what the benefit of that would be. So as I said, the key to really mastering our thoughts, to as the book is titled, improve our thoughts so that we can improve our lives. This is number 2 for a reason. Because we truly want to take it to that next level. We don't just want to think happy thoughts. And I'm not going to get into the whole concept of, adding visualization, adding emotion to our thoughts. That's not today's topic. But I want to point out that just thinking from a more positive perspective, that's a good start. But making sure that positive perspective is the most empowering. Again, I want this versus I don't want that. Obviously, you want to go with the I want version. But when we can take that to another level, and I'm going to keep it super simple. I'm working on ABCD. I'm accomplishing, I'm doing, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 versus I want or I want to. General conversation. Hey, I want to go on vacation. Great. As opposed to, well, I don't want to stay home. Right? Positive. I want to go do this. Negative. I don't want to sit at home. All that's going to do is tell your subconscious mind to sit at home, because that's what it recognizes you saying. I want to go on vacation. I want to travel the world is better. I'm planning to go on vacation. I've planned a trip around the world. Tells our subconscious mind that the action is already taking place, and it promotes moving forward with that perspective. Let me pause and be clear. This is science backed. This is a science backed way of thinking. This is proven for decades. It follows the concept of, I've talked about this in other videos, and I'm going to draw a blank here. I believe it was Harvard had that study. They had 3% of the particular class write down their goals. The other 97 didn't. And 40 or 50 years later, that 3%, their level of success and their financial standing was above that of the other 97% combined. They didn't just say, I want to be successful in life. They actually wrote out the plan, telling their subconscious mind, this is what we're doing. Make it happen for me. That's the general concept. So where's the shift in this? Well, for years I've helped clients understand that your life is really just a mirror that reflects back to you what you've previously thought. It also reflects back to you your current thoughts, and those will be your future. This is a foundational understanding. This is the bedrock of it all. And when we're able to lock this understanding into ourselves as a core belief, it allows us, it allows our daily thoughts, our general beliefs, and our overall mindset to work for us, to move our lives forward rather than working against us, rather than holding us where we're at, rather than heading us in the wrong direction would be a good way to look at it. And the reality is, if we fail to invest time and energy to intentionally recognize the direction, or the directive, maybe I would say, of our thoughts, of our beliefs, and of our overall mindset, and to intentionally train it to lead us to a future that we actually want for ourselves, if we fail to do that, it's a virtual guarantee that we'll fail to experience the future, the life or the lifestyles that we want. And when I say life or lifestyle, I'm referring to every aspect. I'm talking finances, relationships, health, career paths, or literally every part of our life is affected by this, either positively or negatively. So let me be really clear on this. The people that truly master this, they don't stop at that point. As I mentioned, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but they learn to infuse emotion, create the feeling that they would feel in that moment through visualization. Okay. They do this in perfect detail with very controlled thoughts and thought patterns. So think about it. If I were to say, okay, tell me about your dream vacation. Let's just use a vacation, not even a dream day. Dream vacation. And you say, well, I would go to, I don't know, I'll keep it super simple and generic. I would go to Hawaii. I would go to whatever, Maui, Waikiki, or whatever island it is. Maybe you want to go to Europe somewhere. Do you know the spot you would go, the locations, the places you would visit, the hotel you would stay in, the restaurants you would want to go to, the types of food you would eat? Can you see the sights? Can you hear the sounds? Can you smell the smells that you would smell? I mean, if you're thinking like, hey, I would go to Italy, you better be able to conjure up the smell of some good Italian food. If you're thinking Hawaii, I know, be generic, pineapples, right? The smell of the ocean, the feel of the sun on your skin. Don't forget it rains there a couple of times a day, it seems like, and for 5 minute spurts. You can literally visualize that as part of your trip. And that takes the thoughts that you have, the beliefs about you taking that trip, it takes them to a whole new level because your subconscious mind and your physiology is experiencing it at that moment as if it's actually happening. That convinces your subconscious mind it needs to do whatever it takes to make that happen. Or let me say it this way. It doesn't throw up roadblocks to stop it from happening, which is very common, especially when somebody says, I want to go on a month-long European vacation, and the thoughts that start coming to their mind is, but I don't have the money. Can I get the time off? And all this other mumbo jumbo. When we can picture it as if we're literally there, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, really, really picture and think thoughts of the exact experience, it encourages everything in our mind and our heart and our soul and our physiology to come into a cohesive understanding that this is either happening or not happening. And keep in mind, the subconscious mind doesn't perceive things based on time. So if it believes it's happening, that could mean it's happening at this exact moment. It's happening a week, a month, a year from now. It doesn't differentiate specifically between the times as we do in our conscious minds. So I'll digress here. I was referring to how people that truly, truly have mastered this skill and how they've upgraded their perceptions of any given experience so that they can actively create the outcomes they want, regardless of traditional limitations or challenges. You can do this. You can do it with practice. But what do we do to assure that we consistently see things from an empowering perspective? Well, let me explain it this way. I started to use this a moment ago. But if I say to you, tell me about your perfect mate, whether that be boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, what have you, tell me about the perfect person for you. Your thoughts should be something in this realm. I enjoy a man or a woman who is kind, who is caring, who is smoke free, who lives a healthy lifestyle, who loves dogs, is supportive, is thoughtful, is kind. You get the picture? You're saying what this person is. What I'm suggesting is that you train yourself not to think from the negative perspective. So how would that sound? Okay, tell me about your perfect person. Well, I want someone who doesn't smoke. My perfect mate would never complain. I want someone who doesn't always think of themselves first, who doesn't ignore me, who won't blah, 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 blah. You get the picture. Do you hear the difference? Is it registering with you? I want someone who is this, and I'm sharing the positive attributes that I want that person to have versus, well, I definitely don't want someone who's going to, and then I puke out all the negative things that I don't want in a person. And if you've ever had a conversation like this with someone, you've probably heard them do exactly that. They may bounce back and forth, but most of us will tend to throw in comments of what we don't want. But that's not what I asked for, or that's not what this person asked for. They asked for what we do want. And I know it might sound oversimplified, but remember, okay, what are we stressing here? What do I always stress? Success is made simple. The results that you get after thousands of these thoughts go through your mind every single day are so profound. They are literally what has created the life, the lifestyle, the relationships, the job that you're currently experiencing. It is a huge shift, and it requires a lot of intentionality, but it is a simple process, and it is a must if we want the best possible results we can experience, and ones that last a lifetime. This isn't something you're going to use once. This is changing your mindset, your thought patterns to think differently. Once you do, that will continue to serve you with every thought, with every decision. It will begin to change the way you speak to people, because in conversation, your mind thinks from the positive perspective and you speak from the positive perspective. But it takes time and it takes intention to make that happen. And I'll remind you, this is only lesson number 2 out of 70 of the most common limiting beliefs that I share in the book. Again, if you don't already have it, the book is Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to be covering all 70 of these limiting beliefs, or maybe we should say that different. As I'm saying this on the podcast, I'm going to share all of those 70 empowering beliefs, as well as the ones that most people do use. Okay. But I'm going to be sharing them all on the podcast throughout this year, or however long it takes. There's 70 of them. I generally do one podcast a week of this type of a coaching perspective, though we will be increasing that here throughout the year. So it'll probably take the year to go through the book. But aside from that, there's going to be dozens of other, hundreds of other life-changing conversations, discussions. And I truly hope that you actually engage in them, that you share in the comments on your favorite platforms. We're on the majority of the biggest platforms. If you really want to dive deep into upgrading these aspects, your thoughts, your beliefs, upgrading your mindset, okay, grab a copy of the book. It's less than 150 pages. That's the series that I have. It's 150 pages or less. My new book that's coming out in March, Rewire Your Mind, is a new series in 35 pages or less. So there's no excuse not to grab a copy of the book and to actually read it and learn from it and engage with us, on any of our platforms and share comments about it. It's a quick read. Be sure to mark this particular book. Be sure to mark the pages and the thoughts that you struggle with. Okay, the ones you struggle with the most. You can reach out to us. We can support you in whatever ones that are the most challenging for you. You can join in the conversation. You may get a lot of support from other listeners, but we can help you get a handle on potential limited thinking. That's the whole point of the podcast. So, as I said, in March, there'll be another book coming out, and the intention of that is to go a little deeper in a different direction. Actually, let me share this with you real quick. You may have heard this on a different episode, but the new book that's coming out, it's actually 30 years worth of notes and content and interactions that I've had with clients that I had condensed into a 300-page book that was going to come out last year. And I actually brought in some outside perspectives on it because I wanted to bring it down to at least the 150-page series, to go along with Improve Your Thoughts, Improve Your Life. And when I did that, I realized I want to do something even more. And again, that's when I brought in some outside perspectives on it and literally cut it down to 35 pages. So you have zero excuses not to read this book. All right. Again, it's coming out in March. It's Rewire Your Mind. Thinking Positively, Living Powerfully. That's the title. So my question for you now is, when you stop and you recognize that any of your thoughts or your beliefs or your mindset in general are the number one factor in taking your life to that next level or in succeeding in any area of life that's important to you, which side of this scale, we'll call it, are you typically on? Do you often think about things from what we'll call an average perspective, a limiting perspective, or do you focus on the more successful thought patterns? Do you put effort into maintaining a growth mindset? If you're ready to put a focus into that, to invest into yourself, take your life to that next level, be sure to follow here on the platform. Subscribe, like, share, as they say, smash the buttons, whatever platform you listen on. And join us for every episode. Right now, they're Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays is Mental Health Mondays. Wednesdays is LifeDezign Coaching Series. And it's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, iHeart. Of course, the book is out, the first one. Please be sure to engage. Reach out. Create some conversation. Share what's important to you. What I ask is that you're respectful. I don't care if you have differing opinions. That's part of the conversation. Almost everything I share is a differing opinion from what's average. And this is not my information. This is 30 plus years of engaging with people that are taking their life from whatever level they're currently at and advancing it and elevating it to some new level, whatever is important to them. So again, it doesn't matter where you're at in life. That's the conversation that I want to have. And quite frankly, if we're not challenging our thoughts and our beliefs, then we're not growing. So again, join us on the podcast. Please reach out. Let me know if you have comments or questions, if you want to be a guest. I will be probably by the end of February starting to bring on guests at least a couple times a month to have conversations. If that's you, if that interests you, it is a software program so you can sit in the comfort of your own place and we can have that discussion. So I look forward to engaging with you. I look forward to sharing more with you next week. Until then, live awesome and enjoy your journey.